We've seen so many gems in the anime world this year that made us laugh, cry, and scream. I picked fan-favorite characters from the most popular anime from this year and made them fight each other to see who would come out on top. These are the anime that absolutely topped the charts and found their way into our hearts. I'm talking Attack on Titan Final Season, Solo Leveling, Demon Slayer Hashira Training Arc, One Piece Egghead Arc, and Frieren Beyond Journey's End. As for the favorite characters from these series, it's gonna be between Levi, Jin Woo, Nezuko, Luffy, and Frieren. Now, before we get started, let me just tell you that this would be about how strong the characters are in their respective anime. I won't consider manga or manhwa developments. For example, the One Piece anime is still in the middle of Egghead, while the manga is already on Elbaf. Naturally, Elbaf Luffy is a bit stronger than Egghead Luffy, but the one in this video is gonna be Egghead Luffy. For Levi and Nezuko, we'll be using Levi from when he fought the Beast Titan and Nezuko from her fight with Daki. Frieren is already in her prime and doesn't really get stronger as the manga goes on, but we'll still only consider her anime feats. As for Jin Woo, I'd say the main reason we're considering anime feats only is because of him. You see, as the story continues, Jin Woo levels up like crazy and becomes a million times stronger than how strong he is at the end of anime episode 12. He becomes so strong that some fans even argue that he can beat Goku. I don't agree that Jin Woo can ever beat Goku, but there is definitely some room for discussion because he essentially becomes an all-powerful, immortal monarch with a shadow army that can easily clear most shonen verses. Anyways, enough about manhwa Jin Woo. Let's continue with the showdown between the favorite characters of this year. Now, between Levi, Nezuko, Luffy, Frieren, and Jin Woo, who do you think loses first? First, there's simply no way that either Levi or Nezuko can ever defeat the other three. So let's focus on how Levi versus Nezuko plays out. We have to understand that Levi is a soldier, and a soldier needs weapons. So if we're gonna put him against a demon like Nezuko, we have to give him an effective weapon. A good one in this context would be Nichiren Blades. With the Nichiren Blades, all Levi would have to do is use his speed and combat intelligence to land a decisive strike at Nezuko's neck. That's all. But let me ask you a question. Would a Nichiren Blade really work on Nezuko? Yes, it would definitely hurt her, but wouldn't she simply adapt to it like how she adapted to the sun? Nichiren Blades are made from a special ore found in mountains that constantly absorb sunlight all throughout the year. If Nezuko can adapt to the sun, she can definitely also adapt to Levi's Nichiren Blades. And once she adapts to those blades, her regeneration will make all of Levi's strikes unproductive. Kinda like a Titan. At that point, all Nezuko would need is to combust her blood and Levi would face the same fate as when Zeke made the Thunder Spears explode on him. That's right, Levi would lose to Nezuko. He's the first one out. Now, how would Nezuko fare against the other three? It's simple. One advanced armament hockey punch from Luffy would be enough to knock her out, because not only does Luffy have a stronger will, he also has exponentially better stats. Frieren can literally destroy Nezuko using her magical aura itself. I mean, she has canonically one-shotted demons with better stats than Nezuko. But what about Jin Woo? Is Nezuko also helpless against him? Again, this is episode 12 Jin Woo we're talking about. I'd say he's about at the same level as Toji from Jujutsu Kaisen at this point in the story. But what makes him a worse opponent than Toji is that he can also use stealth. There's no other way to go about it. Even though Jin Woo hasn't evolved to the Shadow King that he is, at this point, he still has better stats and feats than Nezuko. She won't be able to attack him with combustible blood while he can easily close in on her and slaughter her with his dagger. Since Jin Woo already has better powers than Nezuko, he may suddenly gain a skill or ability that's effective against Nezuko's demonic regeneration, just like all those mages he defeated in the first season. Alright, so Nezuko, our cute demon, is the next to drop out. We only have 3 characters left. Let's first see how Jin Woo versus Frieren would go. Guys, if Frieren was a hunter in the world of solo leveling, she would most definitely be a national level hunter at the very least. We know that her clone was able to summon a black hole, and if her clone can summon a black hole, so can she. She can analyze and counter almost any magic thrown at her, even spells that are supposed to be incomprehensible. To add on to this, she has a stupid number of spells that can do just about anything she would need in a regular fight. Now, the version of Jin Woo we're talking about is lower than S rank, C rank even. I'd say Frieren can defeat him in more ways than we can even imagine. Moving on to Luffy versus Jin Woo, we have a different kind of matchup. Sure, Luffy has future sight in Gear 5, but unlike Frieren, he's a physical fighter. So what do you think? Is there a way for our Jin Woo to somehow beat Luffy in a physical fight? The answer is no. Luffy's ability to see the future would make it downright impossible for Jin Woo to deal any effective blows. Of course, future sight isn't invincible, but Jin Woo in this context isn't at the kind of level where he can outstat Luffy. And so, if Luffy can also see the future, then Jin Woo simply won't have any effective attacks he can use against Luffy. Plus, Luffy's observation haki can also see through Jin Woo's stealth. In the end, all Luffy needs is a single advanced Conqueror's Haki punch and Jin Woo would be knocked out. Luffy is fast enough to speed blitz this version of Jin Woo, so I'd say this battle will be over exactly when Luffy decides it's over, or when he's hungry. And finally, with Jin Woo gone, we have our finalists, Luffy versus Frieren. This is where it gets real. While Luffy has insane physical stats and haki abilities, Frieren has centuries of combat experience and an even more insane number of magic spells. This is also a really interesting matchup, because Luffy likes to fight in super creative ways, especially after he's unlocked Gear 5, whereas Frieren fights in a super ancient, proper, by-the-book kind of way. They're different kinds of fighters and counter each other. For example, against Luffy's Gear 5 and advanced forms of haki, Frieren has a canonical advantage. She has barrier magic and teleportation. Plus, her ability to analyze her opponents is also a form of hacks. Now, it's also true that Luffy's Gear 5 gives him the kind of freedom that even Frieren's analytical abilities may not be able to predict. I mean, how do you analyze someone who can fight like a cartoon character? I'd say let's consider two scenarios, one where Luffy wins and one where Frieren wins. In Luffy's case, his future sight combined with Gear 5 speed would allow him to dodge or counter most of Frieren's spells. Even if some spells do manage to hit him, Luffy has crazy endurance. And if we're being fair, all he needs is one solid hit coated in advanced Conqueror's Haki and he can potentially end the fight. Frieren, on the other hand, can use barrier magic to buy herself enough time to analyze Luffy's abilities. She can use teleportation magic to maintain some distance, and after that, she can simply use a black hole or summon Hellfire to attack Luffy. She can also dispel Luffy's rubber using a dispelling spell from her huge database of spells, or any other offensive ability really. Now, after considering these two scenarios, if Luffy and Frieren fought 10 times, who would be able to win the majority of times? Let's analyze this. Gear 5 won't be too helpful, because it's not something Luffy can use for prolonged periods of time. He lasts 10 minutes on average, and that isn't enough time to defeat a magic user who has an unholy number of spells under her belt. Luffy's future sight gives him a big advantage, but then Frieren's analytical abilities work on a fundamental level. She can potentially find ways around Luffy's cartoon physics and haki. And just like that, she'll systematically counter everything Luffy can throw at her while defending herself with a combination of barrier magic and teleportation. It's not like Luffy can't win, it's just that she's more likely to find a way to win before Luffy can land that decisive blow. And so, with that said, the winner emerging from this showdown is Frieren. I also made the strongest characters from underrated anime like Fire Force, Heavenly Delusion, and Tower of God fight each other. See who wins here.